Hey everybody, well it's that time once again when I bring you an update on my Patreon campaign, and in doing so remind you that my Patreon campaign is a thing that exists that you guys can become a part of. If you like what I do on this YouTube channel, if you appreciate my work, if it's of some value to you at all and you want to support me doing more of this work, you can make a small as you like, really, as small as $1 a month regular monthly donation to my Patreon campaign. You can go to www.patreon.com/SteveShives and become a part of the Patreon campaign that supports this channel and allows me to continue to do these sorts of videos and to do the work that I do, the An Atheist Reads videos and the 5 Stupid Things videos and the Off Monday Rambles and the Steve and Stuffy videos and all the other crazy shit that I do that some of you seem to really enjoy, which I really appreciate. It's also the time when I break one of the cardinal rules of making YouTube videos, which is to wear a black shirt in front of a black backdrop. I'm kind of a floating head with arms. Although, to be fair, in my defense, it is not a completely black t-shirt. This is my Thinking Atheist, I have a personal relationship with reality t-shirt sold by the great Seth Andrews, one of my very favorite YouTube atheists and just public atheists in general. And it was given to me by my close, dear personal friend, Dot Gregory, with whom I co-host a regular weekly live wrestling show that most of you probably don't watch. But anyway, I wanted to go over my funding milestones for you briefly, and then I wanted to shout some of your names out that have been kind enough to join the Patreon campaign since the last time I did one of these videos about a month ago. And then I'll let you go. There's really not a whole hell of a lot to talk about. It's mostly just a shill video, to be honest. First of all, there's some really cool news as far as the milestones go. I met my $12.50 a month milestone. And I have delivered on the special project that I promised I would do if I hit that milestone. I surpassed the $12.50 a month funding level, and I produced the hour-long Steve and Stuffy riff video that I said I wanted to do when I reached that milestone. It is up on my channel right now. If any of you watching this video have not seen it, it's Steve and Stuffy Burn in Hell. And I will link to it in the description box of this video and probably put it in the form of a card up in that corner. And you can check it out there if you haven't seen it already. It is an hour long, so make sure you have time to watch it. But it is a Riff Tracks, Mystery Science Theater style commentary on Estes Perkel's insane 1974 evangelical film, The Burning Hell, and it turned out really good. It was a lot of fun. It's me and Stuffy and Toby Benson making fun of that movie, and I am really thrilled with how it turned out. So the link is in the description box and on screen, and if you haven't watched it, please watch it, because I really am happy with how that turned out. And thank you all for supporting the Patreon campaign to get me to that point where I made that video. Now, there are 3 milestones I have defined going forward that I have not yet met. The next one is at the $1,500 a month level, and this is a big one. This is one that a lot of you have asked me to do ever since I first started doing the An Atheist Reads series. Many of you have said you should do these as audio-only podcasts so that we can listen to them on our phones or when we're going for a jog or driving in the car or whatever, so we don't have to have the video playing if all we want to do is listen to it. Because I know a lot of you watch those videos in that way. You just sort of have the video playing in another tab while you're doing something else, so you're just hearing my voice. So when I get to $1,500 a month, I'm going to make An Atheist Reads episodes available as audio podcasts. But I'm not just going to rip the audio out of the pre-existing video. That, to me, that's something I could do at any time. I don't need to make that a funding milestone. But what I want to do when I get to $1,500 a month is release all new, freshly recorded audio versions of the An Atheist Reads series. So I'm going to invest in new, better audio equipment. I'm going to go through my old scripts and maybe polish them up a little, see what I can change, see what I can adapt to make it better for an audio-only format. And then I'm going to record brand new audio-only podcasts of the An Atheist Reads series, starting with A Case for Christ, The Case for Christ, actually. Starting with The Case for Christ, going all the way up to all of the books that I have done, and then going forward doing audio versions concurrently with the video versions of the An Atheist Read series that I do going forward. It's going to take a lot of time to catch up. I'm going to do one series at a time, one book at a time, and eventually I'll be caught up to the video series. But that begins at $1,500 a month. So when I get to that milestone, that's when those audio podcasts will begin to be made and released. And that is something that people have asked for on this channel literally for 3 years. And it is about to become a reality. That is the next milestone that I have to reach, is the An Atheist Reads audio podcast. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you really like the An Atheist Read series, I know for a lot of you guys, especially who are here mostly for the atheist content, that's your favorite thing that I do, and I'm so grateful for that. If that's something you'd be interested in and you have not joined the Patreon campaign, please consider that. If that's something you'd be willing to do, if that's something you could afford to do. If not, don't worry about it. But if An Atheist Reads audio podcast sounds like something you would like to have, consider joining the Patreon campaign at the $1 a month level or the $5 a month level. It can be just a tiny little donation. But when I get to $1,500 a month, An Atheist Reads audio podcasts. After that, the next milestone that I have currently defined is at the $2,000 a month level, and that's another podcast-related milestone. That's when I'll start doing a regular live weekly podcast. It will be broadcast live initially, then of course it'll be archived. You'll be able to listen to it anytime you want. But the initial broadcast will be live. I'll be able to take calls. I'll be able to interact with you guys who listen. It'll be as diverse in terms of subject matter as this entire YouTube channel is. I'll probably talk a lot about atheism and religious type stuff. I'll talk about politics. I'll talk about movies and pop culture. I'll have guests on. I would like to get my wife Ashley to co-host it with me, or at least be on it with me quite a bit. I'm really looking forward to it. It's something that a lot of people do. My good friend Jason Harding, Jason with a D, who does Opinionville here on YouTube, has been putting together a really awesome slate of podcasts of his own, one of which I am on. He does a movie review podcast called Late Seating that I co-host with him that is just a joy to do. So I love podcasting. I love listening to other people's podcasts. I've always been a fan of the Thinking Atheist podcast. And I'm looking forward to doing one of my own. And when I get to $2,000 a month on the Patreon campaign, that's when I will be able to start doing that regular live weekly podcast. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And then after $2,000 a month, the next milestone I have defined at this point is $3,000 a month. And when I get, why am I holding up 5 fingers for $3,000 a month? Maybe that. Although in sign language, isn't that 6? Maybe I should just do that. Anyway, $3,000 a month is when I upgrade my video production equipment. The camera I'm using right now is amazing. It has served me so well. It is better than I could have ever asked for or hoped for, but it's the same one I've been using for the last 5 years pretty much. And if I get the $3,000 a month in my Patreon campaign, that will enable me to invest in an upgrade, a better camera, multiple cameras, better sound recording equipment, better lighting. I'll be able to go outside of my home more often to shoot things. I'll be able to bring more people in as collaborators to work on stuff and do a little bit more ambitious in terms of the type of thing that I'm doing in terms of production. And that's just something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to take the same sort of thing that I've always done, but just do it in a sharper, more professional, slightly more large-scale way. And that will enable me to do that when I get to the $3,000 a month funding level on Patreon. So that's that milestone. One of the rewards that I offer, one of the benefits of being a member of my Patreon campaign is that once a month I hold a live Google Plus Hangout that anybody can watch. It is broadcast live on my channel, but if you are a patron of my Patreon campaign, you can actually join me in the Hangout. And the amount of interest that these things have generated is really awesome. The last 2 months in a row, we've had a completely full room. It's been packed. And that's happened a few times before that, but it just seems like recently the last 2 have been really packed and have been really awesome. Our most recent one was on June 28th, and we spent the hour talking about the Twilight Zone and classic TV. We talked about the Supreme Court ruling in favor of same-sex marriage, which had just happened that week. We talked about the Confederate flag controversy, and the discussion ranges all over the place. Whatever the folks in the room with me feel like talking about is what we talk about. We talk about entertainment, we talk about politics, we talk about atheism and religion, we talk about all kinds of stuff. and a great time is had. And if you would like to get in on that, not just as a viewer, but as a participant, you can do so by joining my Patreon campaign. And what happens is, about 15 minutes before showtime, I send out a link through the Patreon website. And if you are a patron of my campaign, you get the join link. And if you can get in before everybody else fills up the room, you can join me in the Hangout Live for an hour. It's so much fun. It's one of my favorite days of the month. I always really look forward to my Patreon Hangouts now. So thank you guys for that. The next one will be on Sunday, July 26th at noon Eastern Time. So if this is something, if you're a patron of mine and you want to join the Hangout, take note of that. July 26th, Sunday, noon Eastern Time is the next one. And if you're thinking of joining the campaign and you would like to get in on the Hangout, that's when the next one's going to be. July 26th, noon Eastern Time. For those of you who might like me or like this channel, but you're a little leery of making a regular monthly donation via Patreon, if that's just maybe too much of a commitment for you, you're not sure if you'll be able to, you want to donate at a certain amount, but you're not sure if you'll be able to sustain that over month after month after month, you can cancel your Patreon donation at any time. It's not that complicated. But for whatever reason, if you just want to make a one-time donation to support the channel, I really appreciate those as well. Those are a huge help to me. And the best way to do that, you can donate through PayPal, which is linked on the front page of my channel, or you can just click that blue support button on the front page of my channel. That is the Google fan funding feature. Just click the blue support button and enter the amount that you want to donate, and that will be donated directly to me, and it'll be paid out to me through my Google account. That is a really, really good way of donating, and lots of YouTube channels do that. If you see a YouTube channel that you really enjoy and you want to support them with a financial contribution, that blue support button is just awesome. It's a great way to make a one-time donation. So I would recommend that as well. I want to bring that to you guys' attention. If for whatever reason you're not cool with Patreon, but you're interested in supporting this channel with a one-time donation, the blue support button is really great. Now, before I leave you guys alone about this for another month, I want to give the new patrons that I have accumulated, that I have acquired since last month, a shout out. If you give me if you commit to a $5 a month Patreon donation or more, your reward is that I shout your name out at the end of these videos. So here are the new $5 or more monthly contributors to my Patreon campaign since last month. Matthew Pugh. Thank you, Matthew. Machiko Nico. Thank you, Machiko Nico. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Brandon Davis. Thank you, Brandon. Fable Spinner. Thank you, Fable Spinner. Jason Dubin. Thank you, Jason. Tyler Ferrari. Thank you, Tyler. Marianne Blair. Thank you, Marianne. Steve Huff. Thank you, Steve. And John Hageman. Thank you, John. Thank you all so much. Thank all of you guys who have been a part of the Patreon campaign, new and old. I appreciate it. I've now been running this Patreon campaign for a year, and I cannot tell you what a boon it has been for my YouTube work and for my life in general. You guys, I owe you more than I can ever possibly tell you. I thank you. I thank all of you for watching. I thank all of you for watching my stuff and for caring about me being on YouTube at all. And liking videos and sharing videos and leaving comments. It all helps tremendously, but especially to those of you who are on the Patreon campaign. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and I will be back to bother you about this again in a month's time. So take care, everybody.